HarperCollins presents So Happy For You by Celia Laskey. Read by Kristen Sieh. To anyone who's ever been a bridesmaid. Part 1. 1. If you want to know the story of how my best friend and I ended up trying to kill each other, I should probably start with the night she asked me to be her maid of honor. Before that, I guess I should clarify that at that point in our lives, we were more like best-ish friends. We had been actual best friends in high school, but as we got older and I became more and more of a rabid feminist, and Ellie became more and more focused on meeting a man to marry and have kids with, we kind of started to resent each other. But neither of us could seem to let the friendship go. Anyway, it was a number of years ago now, when we were both 33. Ellie had asked me to meet her at this new bar in Brooklyn Heights, called the Uncurious Cat, or the Skinny Pig, or some other super clever name that consisted of an animal preceded by an oxymoronic adjective. Picture any bar in any affluent Brooklyn neighborhood and you've got it. Gleaming white subway tiles on the wall behind the bar, a chandelier made of dozens of Edison bulbs, an accent wall covered in a vintage flamingo print, tea lights flickering on the tables, oversized ice cubes in drinks, and men in checkered Oxford shirts sitting across from red lipsticked women, their hair in donut-shaped buns. I watched from outside, shivering in the spring jacket I had prematurely donned that morning. It was early May, and it had just unexpectedly snowed again, as all the couples flirtatiously smiled and eagerly nodded and placed their hands on each other's knees. One couple was already vigorously making out in the corner. I probably rolled my eyes and thought something like, "God, straight people, we get it. The world is yours." Because I was gay and frequented dive bars instead of swanky ones, I thought I was better than them. At that time in my life, I thought I was better than most people. When a woman sitting next to the window went to the bathroom, the man sitting across from her took out his phone and started scrolling through Spouse Spotter, the most popular dating app those days. It was known for giving each member a marriageability rating, abbreviated to MR, on a scale of 0 to 100. A man's MR was determined by his age, height, looks, wealth, IQ, emotional intelligence, sexual capacity — don't ask me how they determined this — and willingness to make a long-term commitment. Women were rated by their age, looks, height, bra cup size, weight, academic degrees, personality, and family background. Women who hadn't married by 27 were labeled leftovers. And women who were still single at 35 were rotten. These labels appeared right next to their profile picture. Men who hadn't married by a certain age weren't called anything at all. An app like this sounds a little fucked up to us now, but you remember how things were then, right? After the divorce rate soared to 76% and the marriage rate dwindled to 21%, fewer people were buying houses and having kids, which meant suburbs became ghost towns, and cities became wildly overcrowded, which meant rent prices and STI rates skyrocketed, which meant the economy and the health of the nation were at risk, which meant the government finally decided they had to take action, even though Americans were happier than ever, according to the World Happiness Report. Happiness was not good for capitalism, or the patriarchy, or white supremacy, i.e., business as usual. So the government gave a ridiculous amount of money to the National Organization for Marriage, making it the most powerful lobbying group in Washington. They also tripled tax breaks for married couples, gave out loans for weddings and homes at bargain basement rates, and severely restricted access to abortion and egg freezing. Every month, in every capital city in the U.S., there was a government-sponsored blind date event. Rom-coms dominated the box office, and family sitcoms were all you could find on TV. Women nearing the age of 27 were targeted with daily countdown ads that displayed the number of days until they became leftovers. And women nearing 35 got countdown ads until they were rotten. Thanks to the government's efforts, it was clear that people, not only the straights but your basic gays too, were suddenly desperate to get married in a way they hadn't been since the 50s, maybe even more so. Thus why the Uncurious Cat was crowded with young people hoping to spot their spouse.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?